Helo a croeso I podlediad Gwasanaeth Ieuenctid Caerdydd I ddathlu Wythnos Gwaith Ieuenctid. Welcome to Cardiff Youth Services podcast to celebrate Youth Work Week. Today I am with Cian Owen and Gareth Bendel from Gogledd Youth Centre and remind me again
Cardiff Northwest.
Cardiff Northwest.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourselves quickly?
Yeah, I'm Cian and I'm the senior youth support worker for Cardiff Northwest, or one of them anyway.
Hi, I'm Gareth. I'm Youth Development Officer for Cardiff Northwest.
So, could you just quickly tell me what opportunities are there for young people in your area?
There's quite a lot, I think. There's quite a bit to go through. So,
Amazing.
in terms of the way we work, in terms of that we work within schools, so we do one-to-one caseload. It's kind of a multidisciplinary role, really, for each youth worker within the Northwest. And across the city, there's things around that open access provision, normal youth club.
Yeah.
There's street-based delivery, so we're going out to where the young people are. There's obviously the caseload within schools, and we work with the community as well. So
just quickly, what schools are in your area?
So at the minute, there's Rada, Whitchurch High, Bishop of Llandaff, and Glantaf.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't go into Glantaf. I don't speak Welsh, but Cian is he does that.
Lush. So how can young people get involved with your youth work delivery? Sut mae pobl ifanc yn gallu dod yn involved gyda'r gwaith ieuenctid yn ardal nhw?
They can either come to our open access youth clubs, and then so we've got 2 nights of junior provision in Gogledd Youth Centre and 1 night of senior provision. We've got a junior provision in Whitchurch and a junior provision in Rada. And then, so these are just turn up, you just sign up. If you're 13 or over, you can do the sign up form yourself. If not, you just get your parents to do it. Then if you're in schools, we've got youth workers in all the schools, and then you'd be referred in if you needed support. But we're also running like sessions and projects and like eye care projects, well-being projects, VR gangs, VR knife crime, VR identity projects in the schools.
Yeah.
We're also street-based in all over the Northwest, so we're doing street-based in like Heath, Danescourt, Rada, Gogledd up and down the Taff Trail.
We tend to get information in where there's kind of groups of young people. You know, they say antisocial behaviour, but it tends to be that just young people want to be sociable.
Yeah.
You know, so we tend to go to those areas and offer opportunities and activities for them if they want. It's about what they want and what they need. If they don't, then that's fine. But we can also offer information, support, and guidance around, you know, if they're having difficulties in school or there's issues of drugs or anything like that. So we can address those issues, and we kind of sit outside the school as well. A lot of our stuff that we do is outside of the school environment, so they feel a little bit more comfortable with what they're talking about, and But we also look at providing opportunities throughout the summer as well. So when they're not in school and they're on half term or through summer, they can get involved with camps or aqua sports and aqua park and things like that, and camping. And we've just set up opportunities to go and do an exchange with Lesotho. So hopefully we'll get the funding for Lesotho or South Africa. And I know other areas across the city are looking at, like Germany, Japan, Switzerland, I think it was, or Finland or something. Sweden, yeah. So I think there's greater opportunities. We're looking at planning for London and things like that, and more overnight stays. So looking at D.V. as well. Yeah. Those are the things that we kind of are all under our remit, really. Yeah. So
amazing.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Beth yw hoff peth ti am gwaith ieuenctid, Cian? What's your favourite thing about youth work? Gareth.
It's just interacting with young people, I think, and delivering youth work as young people. I know it's like that's really general, but that is the bit I enjoy the most. The rest of it's kind of just what I do to be able to do that effectively then. And I just any trips are always great, isn't it? Because you see, especially the overnight, you see young people that maybe have never been away from home for a night or haven't got the funds to go on holiday or anything, even if it's going down just to pick a pods near Cowbridge to camp. Yeah. That it's just an eye-opening experience for them, and like being with their friends and being away from home and having that experience where they might not get that otherwise. Just stuff like that is amazing.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've been in the youth service a bit now, and you know, you start getting young people who you used to work with coming to you and saying, oh, you know, it was a really good impact, and we used to come to youth club, or I used to work with grassroots, and you see them, and you still got a relationship with them because they remember the good things that you did as a youth worker for them, and that's for me is like you can't measure it, particularly the good work that you do or see in that moment, but 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, you can see someone who comes along and go, they've got a family, they've got a job, they're doing really well, and they've got through that process of where they struggled with mental health, or they struggled with drugs, or they struggled with bullying, you know. But to see them come out the other side, for me, is where I get the most enjoyment out of doing that youth work, and you know, investing in young people and seeing what you can get from them and what they can do for themselves, and is a joy, really. And I think the thing for me as well, just to add, is having the right staff, having really positive staff and engage, and having a desire to kind of make a change for young people is so important. Having that positive approach to young people.
It's like that team, isn't it? And like the vibe that young people get as soon as they walk into a
building.
building.
They pick that up. They pick that there's a joy in that, and that youth workers want to be there. They want to make the changes. And I think having that distinction, and you know, there's nothing worse than going to a youth club where there's nothing happening, or it's a bit of a stale kind of environment. So having a good team is essential, and I get enjoyment from seeing the team grow. Yeah. You know, like Kean underplays what he does, and Rowan and all the staff in Gabalfa, and they do such an amazing job. And I think it's underestimated what they do, and I think people don't see the value. And I think for us, as youth workers, we don't sing our praises enough, and each other's praises enough. I think we need to be a little bit more positive about what we're doing, and kind of sing that from the rooftops about. And I suppose this is what the podcast is about. Is about, you know, we have such a great impact within the schools and a great relationship within the schools and the communities. We've embedded ourselves within that environment, so it's a really good kind of good thing to see, and it's just getting better and better the way we're
so just going off that, like how, like I just want to know about like the background work behind like planning all of these activities for young people. How do you listen to the young people and make their ideas come to life within these youth clubs and activities?
It can be a mix of stuff, because for example, we're planning a project now because our senior numbers have been quite low, and they said, well, why don't, like, it was always better when, well, obviously funds are quite tight for these trips now, but it was always better when we used to go on trips and stuff, because then we know we'd come and we'd do something. And so now we're trying to think of a project where they can have a positive impact in their community, try to get them come back in youth club instead of being in the community, you know, just kind of smoking weed or whatever they're doing, and just having that sort of thing they can work towards, and saying, you know, if you do this 10-week project, then we'll take you somewhere, and somewhere they've wanted to go and asked about. And so that's one part of the participation as well. It's just, even if you're out on street based and we're doing like information support and guidance, and we sort of pick up, oh, this area, there needs a bit of work, like there needs something on in this area because young people are congregating and they got nothing to do, so maybe go down and do sports. So use your own knowledge as well as listen to young people. And if we're seeing trends in the youth club, say we've got a lot of young people coming in, we've got body image issues, or are not happy with the way they look, or they've, you know, they're
social media.
Social media. We'll do a project then. You do a project based on that, on like addressing those needs.
And it's also around like the thing that you talked about, that is that although there's two areas, there's a voluntary engagement that young people have, so they want to do activities, they want to do projects, but there's also identified need within the communities around misogyny, for example, which has been in the news quite, in social media. It's about that. So we've got to address different types of need. So there's a need from that community, there's a need from the young people, but also ensuring that they're kind of that voluntary engagement, so they're buying into what we're trying to show them around what is misogyny. We're asking those questions. It's about knife crime, it's got gang culture, and the things around exploitation with the VR stuff that we do across the city. So those are the things that we look at, as well as in weaving into that really fun activities like camping or cooking or gaming or just podcasting is, they've really got onto the podcasting thing, and they like expressing their views. So for us, it's really good that we've got a kind of a plethora of kind of different opportunities for them to kind of get hold of. But we do have to look at the curriculum element of what we're trying to do for that, and from there we can then build on that.
Yeah, we're also trying to start in the infant stages of trying to start the youth forum as well.
Yeah.
For the area, so they've got a greater say in, how money gets spent. Are we spending money on the right things for young people? Are they happy with the curriculum? Are they happy with the clubs we've got on offer? And trying to get representatives from each area of the Northwest, really. But that's we're starting that now, and that's
amazing.
We have young inspectors and we have young interviewers. I know Northwest was quite fortunate to be able to have young inspectors going into other areas, but also looking at young interviewers. So that when we had the restructure, they were a prominent part of every interview. They were kind of their decision making, and their questions were kind of shaped who was employed, and that's the important thing for us, is that they have an involvement right from the bottom to the top. Without that we're not doing our job properly. So,
Lush. Thank you for coming to speak to me today. And if any young people want to get involved with having their say, there's a consultation on the Cardiff Youth Service Linktree, where our workforce development officer is running. So definitely pop onto the link in our bio, in our socials somewhere, and have your say. But yeah, diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you.